episode 28 of the Vodcast.
Yes, there's no 0.5 added to that or anything.
We're definitely not 20 minutes into filming a totally different episode that we learned a bunch of cards just weren't popping up in the deck builder. And definitely didn't delete the deck, clearing all all evidence of its existence.
Don't go on the Wayback Machine.
So what we're going to do instead, since the deck we were going to build, a bunch of the cards just aren't popping up for whatever reason, we're going to talk about the recent Commoner format change that came out a couple of days after we filmed the previous episode in which we built Azuri.
Yep.
And then had a change that affects Azuri specifically. But there was a small change to Commoner, mostly just formatting in a way that it's a lot more clear on things. But also there is one big change to how it works, because effective end of March, the one young hero is still either token, common, or rare, which is what it was. And then the equipment is now token, common, or rare, meaning there is no limit on how many rare pieces of equipment you can put in your deck.
Yes.
So you can have your double Spider's Bite and Arcane Lantern and Ornate Tessin, or whatever you want, which absolutely affects Azuri.
Who else does this affect? It affects... I guess we'll figure that out.
Arachne probably, but yeah, we're going to look at our decks and see who else can be affected.
I'm specifically thinking of our decks that we had. Remember there used to be like 6 or something rare items you could have in equipment?
Oh yeah, but that was 6 rare cards.
Was that in the deck and
yeah.
not just equipment?
It was 6 rare cards across the whole deck. So you could have rare cards in the deck list if you didn't have it in the equipment.
Okay. Yeah, I'm remembering that now.
And then also they just made it clear that the 40 cards in your main deck can only be token or common.
Yep.
Meaning you can put token cards in the deck. So there's no question about Phoenix Flame. We assumed you could put Phoenix Flame in your deck. You absolutely can put Phoenix Flame in your deck.
Yep, and Crouching Tiger.
And Crack Bobble. Was Crouching Tiger not a common? Did they print that as a token?
You know, I'm not remembering now.
Okay.
It might have been both, actually.
It might have been. But I think Phoenix Flames was only Marvel and token.
Wait, would that mean that you would have to... No. Never mind. I don't know.
But you can make a merchant hero now with a bunch of baubles.
Yes.
Just because. That's actually very tempting. I might do that as a joke at some point. Because there's the blue bauble and then there's the yellow bauble.
Is that the titanium one?
Yeah, the titanium bauble. Wonder if there's more baubles. But besides the point of some stupid merchant deck that would be very bad.
What do you buy?
The big change here is that we can now use more rare equipment, which wasn't huge as a change, but does affect a number of different decks, especially the newer ones, in which we've started to see Ornate Tessin and Arcane Lantern fighting for real estate.
So now you can just have them both.
Have them both, yeah, exactly, have them both.
Can't use them both at the same time, obviously, because for some reason you only have one offhand.
Oh, that's
you can't
true.
Have 2 offhand.
That's true.
I want to hold a lantern and a fan.
All right, so we're just gonna, I guess, look at our decks, see which ones are even affected by this, aside from the very obvious ones, like Azuri, that's going to be changing. I don't think Viserai is going to benefit from this change, considering that we already don't have any rare equipment in here.
Right. I don't remember what is available other than the Spell Fray, which...
Yep.
Spell
Fray and Ornate Tessin.
So
and Lantern.
You could add the Ornate Tessin if need be, because that was the book.
I don't think you'd add anything to Viserai because all of his stuff is two-handed. So if you bring
Okay.
in Tessin or Arcane Lantern, you don't have a weapon anymore.
Right. You'd have to.
And especially this go tall aggro kind of Viscerai probably wants the weapon.
I can just imagine him standing there with no sword in hand and just a fan. Yes.
I mean, he can already do that with a book, I suppose.
Yep.
For reasons.
Nope, the book's two-handed.
Well, that's what I mean. That would be his only weapon, is the
Yeah.
book. And the Reaping Blade is also two-handed. Yeah, so...
I mean,
yeah, I don't think...
well, I think the book is new, so at least we could consider it.
Yeah, but, I mean,
Was
yeah,
it-
since
was
the
it
last
even
time we
new?
did Viscerai.
It just creates a rune chain. Okay.
If you hit this highly specific condition. And you pay 3. Or you can pay 1 and do 2 damage and 2 arcane damage.
Yep.
Very tempting with a book, but I think I will stick with Rosetta Thorn. Alright, but Azuri, this is the obvious change to be made here. We have 1 Spider's Bite and an Arcane Lantern, and then we threw in, was it the Toxic Tips?
It was Seeker's Hood, I think. Oh wait, no, it was. Yeah,
It may be.
we were just like,
Yeah.
this can block one on.
Because the
Unspecified
mask
damage.
is what you would do for regular damage, and the no rune hood would be the arcane. That makes sense. Or was it the iron rod legs?
I don't remember.
What is less useful here? So, I mean, it was the boots we thought was the most important, right?
Yeah.
Although, actually, the chest piece doesn't have a replacement here either. It's just the hat and the gloves.
Yep. I'm pretty sure that was our thoughts.
Right, because you have, like, Arcane Lantern, so you don't need the 3 null rune. Yeah, so, I mean, you're probably not going to bring in the Iron Rot legs, right? Whereas Seeker's Hood, you still have the slight argument for non-specified damage. Like, when were we going
That
to
is
replace
true, yeah.
Snapdragon Scalers with Iron Rot?
Well, let's see. Iron Rot was because of the blade break. But
Yeah, if you
why-
do, like, this, and Toxic Tips, you can block 3.
Why did we pick Iron Rot over Ironhide?
Because you don't have to pay for it.
Right.
And
Okay.
normally, Iron Rot has the problem of blocking 1 is very useless in a lot of situations. But since we had a bunch of other Blade Break stuff, you get a full block off those 3.
True. Okay.
But I don't think you're ever going to replace the Snapdragon Scaler.
No. So we can just
All right. Iron Rot goes.
get out of here.
And
Ornate
lest we
Tessin.
forget.
Oh, because it's rare. I think it still shows up,
Boom.
though, doesn't it?
It does. It's just when you go under this tab, it has all of the equipment.
Right, that's true.
So I was just trying to narrow it down. So now we have the Ornate Tessin. That's our new sideboard. Is you either do Spider's Bite Tessin in aggro matchups, and then, or where like you're the fast one, and then you switch the Tessin out for the Lantern when you're facing arcane damage.
Now,
Probably any arcane damage too. Like if you're up against a Rune Blade, you probably swap the Tessin for the Arcane Lantern just to have.
here's another consideration.
Are you about to say Spellfray?
No, I was going to
Okay.
say a second Spider's Bite.
That is also true. We could drop something else like
It
the
is a
Seeker's
consideration,
Hood
yeah.
and bring in the Spider's Bite.
But I do think that's too expensive for Uzuri.
We have 10 cards that pitch for 3. And Spider's Bite costs 2.
I just mean like you'd rather pay for something else than
Yeah.
the Spider's Bite.
Yeah, that's true.
The second Spider's Bite.
Okay, so I think we can call it with this one for now. I think there is a world in which you drop the Seeker's Hood and you bring in a second Spider's Bite.
Yeah.
But I don't know the matchup that you want that change for, so...
You all can decide that for yourself, I guess.
Whereas I can imagine a change where you'd bring the Seeker's Hood if you're expecting non-specified damage. And you think blocking the 1 will save you. And the opt helps, I guess. I don't know. was the... Oh, it was like Infecting Touch or something that we saw while looking at another deck that we're not building.
Oh, it was Infecting Shot.
No, yeah, but it was the other thing we saw that you had to play. You couldn't play it from your hand.
Oh, Virulent Touch.
That's what it was. I was just thinking that actually is not a terrible card in here.
Yeah, I think I'd considered it when I went through the cards as well.
Yeah, we must have talked about it, right?
You still have it set to rare.
What? I clicked reset. What?
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 Okay, now I just have no idea. Is it broken?
I think so. I think we broke it. Do that. Okay. Whatever. It's not important.
I mean, we could just look at it by itself.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting card that we could consider putting into Azuri someday. Just because it does Blood Pox? Yeah, if they blocked with a card from hand. It's like kind of a neat card to sneak in there if they block and then you pull this in, you're like, aha, I get Blood Poxed.
The only downside being that if you just have it by itself, you have no way to
arsenal it first.
You have to arsenal it, and if you can't, then it's just a dead weight card.
Do we have any that are like worse than it though? No, we like Stony Wattenhog. That's a good one. Surging Militia was also kind of the like push over the top. Yeah, I don't know what we'd really replace. Aside from maybe like Ravenous Rabble, but
Let's go again.
I mean that's true. Forgot about that part.
0 cost go again with no downsides in this deck.
We have Destructive Deliberation in here.
That's true. That is one that could use.
All right. Well. Oh, and then Cut Down to Side is just really, really good.
Does Virulent Touch, does that do damage?
Yes. It does like 4.
Okay.
So it's like 1 less than Destructive Deliberation.
Right.
But it also costs 0, so if
It
you do
does.
ever have to like
Arsenal it, you can just play it from Arsenal.
This is by alphabetical order, right?
Yep. Alphabetical and by
Class.
Class, then generic.
Not seeing Virulent. Set. Virulent. Okay. That worked. We'll take it. So we put that in, take out Destructive Deliberation?
Sure.
I feel like that actually is pretty good. I don't know how we missed that before.
We probably just...
I feel like that is better than a Ponder token.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that just draws you an extra card. The Virulent Touch has, like... You can choose which one it is, right? As well?
No, it's Blood Rot Pox.
Oh, it's just Blood Rot. Okay.
But
I was thinking of a different...
That means if they full block it, they still take 2 damage.
Yep. And next will be...
Alright, next will be... Briar has the same problem as Viscerai, so not really worth looking at that one.
Mm-hmm.
Just, yeah, same thing, 2-handed weapons, can't really do a side thing. I don't think Lexi has anything, right?
No, I think...
I mean, Lexi could be upgraded in theory from Outsiders because of all the Ranger stuff being added. True. But not specifically from rares.
Right, or at least rare equipment and weapons.
Yeah. So it'd be more like whether we replace...
What's her bow do again?
This one does... it's instant instead of action. Oh, well, Barb Castaway is also instant. That's the one that can give dominate.
Oh, okay, right. I feel
Yeah.
like that was pretty.
I think that was pretty big into
Yeah.
her thing. Just because you could do dominate on things that have like on hit effects. But yeah, so I think there's a world in which we could discuss doing Lexi upgrades, but that would be that could be a whole episode in and of itself with how many new Ranger things came out. Commoner Dash, I think, is a similar problem where two-handed weapons, so not really room for rares.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's good. Kasai. Do we really not bring in? We upgraded Kasai at one point, and we didn't think Arcane Lantern was worth the sideboard. Did we just think you just go stab crazy and kill the wizard?
Yeah, we might have just thought outpace.
Yeah.
Out damage.
That seems kind of reasonable. And it's not like you necessarily need all the other equipment, so you can just replace it.
Although it doesn't take in consideration Briar.
What, trying to race Briar?
Yeah, racing Briar, who is using arcane damage.
Yeah. But I mean, I still think... Oh, is that what it is? Because Kasai's ability does literally nothing if you replace the second saber. She makes the second saber attack free. Is that why we didn't do it?
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, we wouldn't bring in Tessin either at that point. Okay. Dromai we didn't even build in an episode, but she's two-handed weapons. Faye? This is your list, right? The 0 drops, that's the one we have?
Probably. Maybe. Or maybe not, because I vaguely remember something being wrong somewhere.
He already has a rare slot available at this point. He had a rare slot that wasn't being used.
So he has the sword, which... Oh, wait.
That's like your normal build
that
as you go Ember Blade, right?
Yes.
And then you switch it with Kadachi Arcane Lantern for the mage ones.
So, I mean, we could also
Which
add
is
in...
funny. We played Icelander into Fae, didn't we? And then you went Searing Ember Blade anyway.
I think I was greedy.
I think it may have worked for you, if I remember correctly. But, yeah, in theory, we have the Harmonized Kadachi Arcane Lantern to replace that.
Which means we could also have the Ornate Tessin in there.
Yeah, but I mean, would you... If you're going to go greedy, you'd go Emberblade instead of Kadachi Tessin.
Right.
I suppose if we wanted to briefly look at things, there are options for hats now.
That is true.
Yeah, you're not really combo.
No.
Mask of Many Faces doesn't really help.
So Faye more concentrates on the chain.
Yeah.
The draconic chain.
And the other mask is dagger hits, which isn't completely impossible, but
you would only use
you'd
that
only
if you're...
or bring the dagger in if it's an arcane matchup.
Right.
When you would also bring in the Snow Rune. And this does not have arcane barrier on it. You wouldn't use the Tearing Shuko because you're not doing Crouching Tigers. You wouldn't do Fisticuffs because they're absolute garbage.
Didn't we consider Fisticuffs for something?
We did. It was for Azuri, I think. And it was because you could boost attacks after the fact. That's what it was. And even then, I think we didn't use them.
Yep.
I forget. We did Stubby Hammers, didn't we? For like the crazy stealth turn?
Yeah, it hit more things.
Yeah. Alright. So, yeah. Faye is good. This episode is just going to be looking at decks and being like, it's good.
Yep.
And then move on.
Yep.
As I say that, though, this deck is probably going to be changed a bit.
So this is the red-yellow one, right?
This is the red-blue. So Oh, which I guess means this one might not actually be changed. Oh, no. I think this one can be changed. 100%. You would not put Ornate Tessin in here, but we don't have the Arcane Lantern because Spider's Bite took all the rare slots. So we can put the Lantern in this, because I think there is a world in which, even though this deck is kind of built around going Spider's Bite, big hit, like, I think against Arcane ones, you probably would swap a Spider's Bite for a Lantern. So the question is, what do we not want to lose then? We're keeping the Snapdragon Scalers, but then do we care more about Deep Blue or Stubby Hammers? I feel like the answer is probably Deep Blue. If we're going to have all the daggers. Oh, although if you are swapping a dagger out, you probably do care less about Deep Blue at that point. Okay, I think we want to keep Stubby Hammers instead. So we go down No Room Gloves, and we go up Arcane Lantern, which is there. Perfect. Oh, and I guess in general, too, we do have other stuff for him now as well.
Right, because currently he has Talismanic Lens, and that just opts, right?
Yes. So one of these would be better.
You'd want the one that affects his daggers, right?
Well, that one says that whenever you hit with a dagger this turn, you can put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck and then draw a new card. So you're going to draw like 2 cards per turn, but you're not going up cards. And then the other one is you can just reveal cards till you hit an attack action card.
Okay.
Which one do we think we're getting more from?
They both have Blade Break, right?
They do. They both have Blade Break.
It might be the attack action one.
It might be. I'm torn. I could see both of these being good.
Yep.
I think neither one is like super better than the other.
So, Talismanic Lens is opting. What did we care about opting for? Is that just...
I think we were just looking to like set up a good next turn. It doesn't sound right, but why wouldn't we do Hope Merge instead? What was the opt part?
It might have to do with the contracts.
Oh, you know what I think it was? As silly as this is, the contracts give you money, and opting was to see if it would be worth drawing a card. Or not. Like if what was on top was better than the card you would pitch to get it. Because the contracts give you silver, and blue can pay for a silver.
Okay.
That's what the idea behind the op was. So yes, I do think one of the two masks would be better, probably. Okay. But I could see it being either. I think Mask of Malicious probably has more control, though, so I think you're probably right. That's probably the better one to do. Yeah. And then we could do Toxic Tips as well. Do we have... We have an Ironhide Gauntlet. We could swap that for this. That's the one where the next attack action card you play this turn gains the like on-hit effect.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have attacks that are pretty good at hitting, if I remember correctly. I feel like that could be an Ironhide Gauntlet. It's Blade Break 1, but
right.
Down a little bit, but it has effects. So, yeah, all right. I think that's probably Red Blue Arachne changes. Now that we can use all the rare items, we get an Arcane Lantern. And also using it at the same time to just be like, yeah, new card goes in.
We're here.
There's obviously much more we could do with that deck to try and redo it, because there's a bunch of new assassin cards. But that's just the easy one that, without any other changes. Because, like, do we want stealth cards in his deck when what he does is basically all built around contract? Probably not, but who knows? Maybe it's better than some of the other random stuff we put in there, but I don't think we need to look at Wizard Player. What do we have for the weapon here? Rosetta Thorn?
Nebula Blade.
Nebula Blade. Which obviously now the appropriate thing to do would be the book. Because if you're a wizard instead of a fighter, obviously the book makes more sense. And I think it basically does what the idea behind Nebula Blade was, of just making rune chants to add extra arcane damage. Although Nebula Blade was also the thing that would be triggering those rune chants, but yeah, that deck is obviously a little bit of a joke.
Too much meme.
Yeah, too much meme. Connor Bravo, I don't think would change at all.
Already has Arcane Lantern.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, like, would you ever use, like, Ornate Tessin over the Rotten Old Buckler or the Arcane Lantern? Probably not. And technically, we already have a rare slot available, so that didn't change anything.
Right.
Alright, yeah, so Bravo's good. Rune Blade Levia. Forgot about that, which is a two-handed weapon, right? Yep. Wait, nope. There was a Mandible Claw. So, could do Mandible Claw or Innate. Don't think you would, though.
No.
I think you'd probably stick with Bone Basher. Alright, so there's that. Rune Blade. Or, yeah.
Rune Blade.
Yeah.
Weapon
you had it right. Weapon Master Benji. This actually does have changes, I think.
Is there a rare needle for him?
Both of those needles are rare. Those were all over rare slots.
Right, okay, so...
Yep.
So we could put an Arcane Lantern or Ornate Tessin in here.
Probably would do the Lantern. I feel like you wouldn't do Tessin.
Right. So I guess in that case you'd get rid of Would you get rid of a piece of Nullrune? No, I guess not. Because you want...
You could, because Tide Flippers has Arcane Barrier.
Oh.
So you actually have 3 here. So you probably would get rid of one of the Nullrune. What do we care more about? Well, that's ironic, because I would normally say that the hat is the easiest thing to replace here. But there's new hats, and the gloves are very bad. What does the Blade Cuff do? Ooh, I forgot about Blade Cuff. You're a dagger, right? Okay, Blade Cuff is just auto-include. Because that boosts your dagger, so it makes your needles don't break. This helps with needles not breaking. This is easily the best piece of equipment to put in the deck now. Goliath gauntlets are gone. No rune gloves are gone. And then we bring in the lantern. So we bring in Arcane Lantern. That gets us to 11 equipment. Currently we have Hope Merchant's Hood. But that one doesn't do anything, right? We don't have any combo pieces?
I think so, no.
We do have a Head Jab.
I think it's just because it was under the radar.
Oh, yeah, it's unblockable to go again?
Mm-hmm.
That is hilarious. Okay, and we have the Brandishes, Twin Twisters. Was there a new weapon boosting spell? I don't think so, right? So we do this. We do Ninja. We do Common or Token, and we do Outsiders. Back heel kick. Combos with Twin Twisters.
Maybe the Deadly Duo.
Deadly Duo. Next attack action card 2 or less. Yeah, and then that makes them
yeah,
blockable.
Okay. Right. Now I remember.
Descendant. No, 1-2 punch.
Maybe the yellow.
Head jab. Wait, 1-2 punch is actually good.
Right, because it doesn't boost itself. It
just does
2
extra damage. And it works off of head jab, which is already in there. That's also an attack reaction that's not bad either. Because it boosts daggers. Or all the other attacks. And after the block stage. Plunge is also not bad. This is a heavy rebuild that this would be, though.
Maybe we should...
Yeah, hold off on that for now.
Yeah.
But, okay, Blade Cuff in, Arcane Lantern in.
Yep.
Null Rune, Gloves out. And... Oh, the Goliath Gauntlets, because that's just not great. Alright. Now, was there any others? I feel like that was probably most of the ones that would actually... Hang on. KO. No claw. No, this one's all set. KO's good because we already had the 2 rare slots for the claw and the lantern.
Okay.
The combo. So I think we've basically gotten to the end. Datadol had no rares.
And she's got the pistol anyways, which is 2
Yep. True. Old Him is going to be the same as Bravo, where he already has good stuff, so I wouldn't replace anything here. Alright, so what we've learned from this is that there's a couple of decks that could use a hefty revisit with Arachne and Weapon Master Benji.
Yep.
But just looking at purely off the new change. Oh, and Lexi too for outsiders as well.
And maybe we should actually put the red-yellow Arachne on here.
Yeah, so you can also look at that one. I feel like that one was probably fine as is. Oh wait, no, it would need something because I think that one we settled on Spider Spite because that was one Spider Spite, I think.
Yep.
So that one would need a change too, because
Okay.
you can have the Tessin and the Lantern. So yeah, that would be similar.
Okay.
Depends on whether we have the Tessin in by default. I think we do.
I would have to look at the list that I made.
I think ironically that is the one we went with, was Tessin over Arcane Lantern, which baffles me right now trying to think of that, but I feel like that was what we did. So then the obvious thing with that one is just to drop a piece of Null Rune and bring in Arcane Lantern. Yeah, so that's the big change with getting unlimited rares now. It's mostly just Tessins going in where Tessins weren't before.
Yep.
Or Arcane Lanterns. In the case of like the red-blue Arachne that wasn't going to bring in Tessin because you would go double daggers, but he would bring in an Arcane Lantern. So, yeah, changes to the commoner format. I think we both agree they were good changes, but if anyone thinks that it was worse for the game, I'd love to hear that in the comments. I'd be curious what everyone thinks on that change, whether it was for the better or not. I think it makes deck building a lot more straightforward that you don't have to track numbers of each.
Definitely, yeah.
And I think that's probably why they did it, was to make it cleaner. And also, there's a lot of new decks where Tessin and Lantern are debatable.
And I'm sure in the future they're going to be adding in more rares that we'll probably want to switch in or out.
Or completely ignore them.
Yep. Which we have done.
Which we have done, yeah. Yeah, so if you enjoyed this fairly short podcast episode, leave a like, comment, subscribe for more Flesh and Blood Commoner content.
And we'll see you next time.
Woo!
Bye.